Hey guys, this is UofT TV. I'm Debbie and today I have got Vanessa here with me and we're going to be bringing you some news from around campus. We've actually just come from downtown Toronto and we've been filming a very exciting segment on Occupy Toronto. How'd you find it?
Mind-blowing, interesting, amazing. So many opinions that you can learn from.
Right? But you're going to have to wait because first of all we've got a question of the week.
The news,
yeah.
And UTSU.
So don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere, stay tuned.
Okay, so we have just left the town hall and it is absolutely freezing.
So cold.
So cold. So we're going to head on to Queen Street and get a coffee.
But before that, stay tuned for Rachel with a question of the week.
Hi, I'm Rachel Welsh here with UTTV's Question of the Week. This week we're at Con Hall because it's my personal favorite building on campus. But this week we're asking, what's your favorite building and why?
My favorite building at UofT is Bader, and the reason for that is because of the important people that they have.
I really like the AC because it allows students to get involved in sports and athletics besides just their academic lives.
My favorite building is Lash Miller because of its amazing laboratories and library. It's a quiet study area.
Alright, my favorite building on campus is MedSci because it has the best colors.
My favorite building on campus is Hart House because I really like their running track.
My favorite building on the campus is the Medical Sciences building because I want to be a doctor in the future, so that's why.
Well, my favorite building would be MC because I'm a mechanical engineer and the seats are so comfy that I just sleep in there.
My favorite building is Gerstein because it's really nice.
My favorite building is probably Bain because the TV show Fringe is filmed there.
My favorite building is Con Hall because it's where I had my first lecture and it's where we'll be graduating, so it's a complete circle.
As we promised you, we have a special news coming up for you.
Yeah, we've been filming it today. It's Occupy Toronto. Have a look. It's the 15th of October 2011. What started out on the 17th of September, Occupy Wall Street, has spread across the globe and we are now in downtown Toronto on Bay and King Street to see how Occupy Toronto plays out today. The message is very strong and very clear. We are the 99% and we should rise up against the 1% elite who have been controlling our lives for the past 30 years. People gathered at 10 a.m. on Bay and King Street to hear the occupation zone announced and begin the protest. No goals had been specified on the Occupy Toronto website, but in an email statement released to UTTV, they said that the occupation would continue until the General Assembly came to a consensus on the demands, and until those demands were met. As you can see in the background, there is a police presence here, but it's not as much as I would have expected considering the G20 protests from last year and the violence that erupted out of them. But we're going to keep an eye on things and see how things move along. We talked for a while with the organisers of the event who preferred to be referred to as marshals and claimed to have no leader. They encouraged anyone who had something to say to take to the mic and speak to the crowd at any point, and they seemed a little bit friendlier towards us once they learned we were from the University of Toronto and not one of the media companies.
Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! Go!
Okay, let's go. At around 10:45 a.m. they gathered everybody together and announced that the occupation would be in St. James Park. And so the protest began. A mixed demographic of people took to the streets, ununited perhaps in their motivations for being there, but collectively tapping into the discontent about the perceived inequalities in society. On the front page of the Occupy website, they had called the 1% a great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money. That's pretty provocative stuff, and I'd wanted to ask the protesters themselves why they were there. Hey, I'm Debbie. It's a pleasure to meet you. So, do you think that we can really affect change today?
To be honest, movements have to begin somewhere. And today, we have, a huge gathering today, very impressive. We have our brothers and sisters in trade unions, students from all the universities, young people. And so this is the beginning of, the building up of the momentum of, really the average Canadian people, workers, students, starting to say, no, we're not going to accept, the really declining standard of living we're facing. We're not going to accept rising tuition fees and student debt. Or after I graduate, I can't find a job. Unemployment is skyrocketing for young people. The lack of good jobs, the attacks on the existing good jobs.
The protests are going to be going on all day. It seems to be staying very peaceful. There's no sign of any kind of violence whatsoever or struggles. It had been an interesting morning, full of collective leadership and open debate, bringing crucial topics into the public arena. Discussion is the first step for any kind of change, and movements tend to begin with a sense of what's wrong and not necessarily a list of goals. It's too early here to guess what will come of the protest and whether or not it will affect policy or influence politics. It might develop into a political party or movement, but in order to bring about change, the people here will be forced to build alliances and cooperate with the politicians and institutions that they have been slandering. We left the protesters, some of whom would choose to set up camp in St James Park. They remain there now. On a Monday morning, they will once again take to Bay Street and launch some form of a protest on the stock exchange. I'd ask UofT students to consider a couple of things. Whether leadership by consensus is an effective means of leadership that can represent the voice and interests of the 99%, and as students, if you could, what policies would you change? This is UofT TV News, Debbie Butts, Toronto.
So here we are at Queen Street. It's shockingly cold, chilly. I mean, people are shopping and everything, relaxing.
Did you know that the UTSU is already underway in building a student-designated area on campus? This space, to be known as the Student Commons, will house student clubs, meeting rooms, computers, student lounges, rehearsal space, as well as a cafeteria, and will be student-run. Many UTS services, including the textbook exchange, will operate from the Commons. I can finally imagine a future free of sleeping students in robots and cram club offices.
Okay guys, well that is all we have got time for this week. Now, midterms. Try not to get too stressed. I wish you all the best of luck for them. And I've got some advice. When you do go outside, stay wrapped up because it is cold outside right now. So next week we will bring you all the more news. But for now, this is UofT TV News. I've been Debbie Butts. Take care.